Hey everybody, welcome back. Part number 5, my Tamiya 48 scale F-14B build. This kit right here. This week we're going to work on the wings. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so quick update of where we're at. We got the main assembly done from last week. No problems at all. Looking awesome. And we have our ordnance, exhausts, and tails done. Tails painted up in the black color for the scheme. So all that's done already. So next up, it's going to be the wings. Now, this is not a catapult, and it's going to be dirty configuration. Wheel, wings out, flaps down, that kind of stuff. The only way you can do it in this kit. So surprisingly, you don't have the option. I mean, they could have put the extra sprue in, and you could have options, but no, they made this one purely wings out. If you want to do wings back, you have to do the A or a D boxing, or just reach out to Tamiya and try to buy the extra parts for the wings, which I think is sprue A. Reached out earlier in the year, didn't have it. Reached out 4 months later, didn't have it, but you do have some in order. So it's very patchy. If you're willing to wait like a year, you can probably buy a set of wings from Tamiya very cheaply, or maybe eBay. eBay's kind of dried up recently. I've checked periodically and not seen anybody selling any the wings. So again, this kit is going to be one configuration only, and it has to be the wings out. Unless, of course, you have a D or an A boxing and the parts are interchangeable. You can just take the wing parts out of those and use them in this if you want the wings back. Now, that's section number 44. Basically, we're going to start with leading edge slats. We're going to do the flaps, and quite detailed here. We've got some painting going on, red on the inside. So as we build all this stuff up, we're going to have to do sub assemblies, paint, paint areas and that kind of stuff. The one nice thing is though with this, the wings are separate, as you can see with the main build, and they just slot right on. So you can paint them all separately, slot them right on, and then also for storage or moving the thing around, again, just pull the wings off, and you can, makes things a little bit easier, because this is quite big with the wings out, quite a big footprint. All right, so moving on to, sorry, open this out a little here. 46, again, building the main wing assembly. Well, first wing, wing number 2. Sorry, I'm reading this wrong. Okay, wings, first step of the wings, and then second step of the wings, but like the leading edges on. And that's pretty much it. And then they slide right on, as I said. So basically, we're going to do parts 44, 45, 46, and 47. But again, it's quite detailed. It's a painting involved here, and we actually get the main paint of the aircraft painted. And I did do a correction last episode, but I did originally mention it was going to be dark ghost gray all over, and did some little bit more research, and we found out that this one's actually dark ghost on top, light ghost on the bottom, so 2 colors. So that's what the wings will be in, obviously, as well, to match the rest of the fuselage. So all that will be painted up, weathered, and all the rest of the stuff as well. So yeah, let's get going. So I'll start cutting these pieces off the sprues, come back, and kind of show you where I'm at. So about 15 minutes of work, and we've got it pretty much put together. Leading edge slats, pretty straightforward, just one piece that goes on the back of each. Right here, just glues in. Again, I'm using the Tamiya white top cement, not the extra thin, for these larger parts. Glued in place, just really take care of all the cut-off points, make sure they're all smooth and no jaggedy edges, that kind of stuff. So they'll be painted up shortly, and done one flap, which looks like so. Just, again, went together really well, just sanded in between here, clean it up a little bit, and that's one side done, again, using the white cement glue pretty much all around. And here's one I've done, and not the other side I've not closed up yet. So Tamiya did a really nice job with this kit, where each of these parts are keyed slightly differently, so you can't really put something in the wrong place, which is great engineering. So again, just one side at a time, just cut the pieces off, put them in order, and then just glue them in place. And the top part here will just go over the top, and as you can see, it's going to be pretty much a perfect fit. And then I'm just going to sand the seams in between. Again, there's not going to be much to do at all. Really good fit. And that is the second flap. As you can see, we've got them all built up, and first coat primer and kind of pre-shading shadow coat kind of put down. So various components going into this, and as you can see, looking exactly the same as we did with the fuel tanks earlier on, and how we'll do the main fuselage too. So just a basically primed in black, Mr. Surface of 1500 black, and then just with whatever white you have. I mean, I'm to use X2. And took my AK splatter mask. Now you do photo etch ones, which I have. This final one is way better because it's more, you can go around curves and stuff. Plunk it on top, spray it, and then just a little mist coat over top, blend it in a little bit. And yeah, then I'm going to put a thin down top coat of the Ghost Grays. Hopefully, put down nice and light, and some of this should show through and create some visual interest, hopefully. So what I do is, I kind of like doing cars in real life. Between each stage, I like to just take an old worn down sanding sponge and just give it a quick rub down, get rid of high spots, and so you can feel it, and it's nice and smooth. And just good practice to do it between every paint level. And using your finger. These are flat surfaces and no problem, but when you're working fuselage with curves areas, especially where the wing roots are, sometimes you can feel its texture. And again, just quick rub down. It doesn't really, takes a fraction, fraction of a micron of paint off it. But it just makes all the difference and give you that nice smooth surface. And that will help you later on too when you get to decals. They'll bed down a little bit easier because you've got a nice flat surface to go on. And again, I can feel there's a few little bumps and stuff on here. So just a quick little rub. And we are silky smooth. So what's up next is I'm going to paint the grays, and then once the grays are painted, I'll go back, mask and paint the red, which is basically on the front here, red, and the back, from the back line, this very back section is red too. It's like a line, you can see the power line runs through. So the back half is going to be red as well. So yeah, I'll paint the gray, like I said, then get the red painted up, and be right back. It's been a couple of days, and let me catch up with the progress on these wings. Now, shaking around here, loosely putting them on the fuselage, just really to help while they dried. Put them on while the paint dried. So the funny thing is, I was building the fuselage and thinking to myself, this doesn't seem as big as I imagined with 48 scale. When I built these in the past, I thought they were a lot bigger. And because I built a few semi-second scale kits before, and put the wings on in the out position, and then you realize, oh, actually it is pretty big. So obviously, they are pretty big. So let me catch you up what we've done here. Obviously got them painted up, and some post shading with some smoke, which I did with the Prowler EA6B recently. Just Tamiya LP67 smoke. And with this, I get very, very low air pressure and light misting. We're not hosing it on. And as you can see, very subtly, hopefully, I'll take a wing off, just picked out certain areas, such as like down there, across, some patches, on the back here. Again, just picking up very subtle detail. And what I did was also, a couple of these panels on here, I took my masking fluid and with an old airbrush needle, which is very, very thin, just basically put masking fluid around a couple of these panels. Then with some smoke, just mist over very lightly. And then with a Q-tip, I don't have one with my hand right now, but Q-tip, just rub off the masking fluid once it's dry, and you get that kind of puttied kind of effect. Now, I'll get in more detail later on in this build when I do the fuselage. We'll have a whole weathering video, and we'll do it in more detail. But it just creates that kind of like puttied effect you can see there, and again adds more detail. You can see all that pre-shading coming through. Remember, we just did that modeling effect with the splatter mask, and again with the smoke, it creates a good effect, I think. So I did that, added the decals. These decals seem to go down okay. So I've had all kinds of trouble with decals this year, and followers my channel know I'm pretty competent with decals. I don't have much issues. And what I think I've been doing is I've been using the ultimate modeling, ultimate modeling products setting solution, which works really great. But I've had this for about, I don't know, 18 months, maybe a little longer, maybe 2 years. And I thought I've had problems with decals, like not sticking and problems. So I'm wondering maybe if this has gone off, because what I've done is I've gone and got Silver Set out the drawer, which I know this is like the strongest stuff I have, and I don't really use this. And I used it on these decals, and they seem to have stuck down okay. So I'm wondering maybe just end of life on that solution. I'm not sure, because I did do the tails off camera, and these decals were hard to kind of get bedded down to stick. So I'm gonna rest of the build. I'm gonna use a Silver Set, see if that works, and maybe it's just end of life on that cell that's causing my problems, these decals, but we'll see. So back to this, got the decals put on, no step, and yeah, various ones, one on the end here, the slime lines, all the rest of it. And once the decals are on and dried, I went ahead and put a satin coat down in preparation for a wash. So I talked about this before. I like to mix my mediums. So because I use enamel products and oil products for weathering, I want to use I use acrylic for clear coats in between, like utility clear coats. So I do find that these AK 3rd Gen ones are pretty good. This is a satin one. I have the matte one as well. And this is just the thinner I use to go with it. So just 50-50, and just kind of pretty much hose it on, let it dry for a couple of hours, and now we're ready to apply a wash to pick out some of this panel line information. So yeah, there we go. So again, I kind of don't want to get too much detail with the weathering part because we're going to duplicate it in a later video, but I'll touch upon the high points. So that kind of gets you up to speed of where I'm at with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get a wash on, do a little bit more weathering, and then we'll come back and kind of show you kind of how we're looking. Also, I kind of want to get some effect or some kind of that dirt, like sweep effect. You get those lines on here, where the wings sweep backwards and forwards. I think I got an idea of that with some oil paint too. So let me fool around with that and come back and kind of show you the finished kind of result. Okay, as you can probably see, we're pretty much done. Well, we are done with the wings. So grimed up, dirty. There we go. That's how we're looking. Now the oil paint's going to mellow overnight as always and kind of deepen down, but down and dirty. And there, our wings. Now, you get these decals in Tamiya kit to kind of simulate kind of the swing of the wings where it gets kind of oily and grimy. So I kind of tried something out. I think I kind of like what I did here. And how I got that effect was basically took my Starship Filth oil. And also, first of all, as always, I'm going to talk, well, take a step back. I'm going to talk about this in a weathering video in about 2 or 3 parts time. I'm going to go through some detail on the fuselage. But high level, took one of these micro brushes. These are from AliExpress. You get like 100 for a couple of bucks. And they're basically for applying glue for eyelashes, I believe. I use this to apply it. Panel lines, just put a couple of dots down, and then with a brush, just kind of blend it in across certain panel lines to create that kind of effect. And what I did then was just took 1 drop of enamel, with a pipette, 1 drop of enamel thinner, dropped it in the paint I had left over, and kind of mixed it to make a little bit of a wet kind of slurry. Added a couple bits on here, and then with this brush, which is for streaking grime, you see that how the top is like that? I just basically went in the movement and create those like brush marks, which gives you the effect of this. But this looks unnatural. This looks a lot better for me. Looks much more realistic. Now this is AK brush 356. I've had this for years. If you can see, sorry, 576 is a number, and you can see the tip there. It's kind of like bits chopped out of it. And again, add a bit in and just did that kind of movement to spread all around. It was a little thick, so I just took a Q-tip, rubbed it off the excess paint, and then went on it again. So I got to kind of what I like, kind of, you see kind of the brush streak marks in the oil paint. And for me, that looks pretty cool. So I'm happy with that. First time I tried it, and I'm really happy how that turned out. So weathering, as always, 4A Models Dark Dirt Wash for a wash for the panel lines. Then gave it, took all the wash off, left it in the panel lines. Then gave everything a flat coat. Then applied the oils. And yeah, no more coats on top, clear coats on top of the oil. Just leave it as is. Now the decals all sticked on nicely. Again, I use Silver Set. This stuff's worked great in the past, but I think it's gone off. So I've had some issues with decals, but again, with this stuff, no problems. So all the little tiny ones, like no steps, remained on, didn't come off. and I think that might be my issue I've solved. Not saying that product's terrible, just everything has a shelf life, right? So just want to show you for giggles here, before we wrap this video up. We have the 48 scale, which is pretty big. Now, this is my stored 32nd scale project, and you can kind of see the wings on this guy. Just to give you an idea, 48 is pretty big, but compare it to my 32nd scale one. I'll zoom way out. There you go. It gives you an idea. So you want to build a 32nd scale F-14. They are massive. This has so many problems. It's a Trump kit. So many issues with this one. I've been stopping and starting for the last couple of years working on this. The wings have to be fit in place. So all the wings are done on this. I've just got some seam lines to take care of. And the main problem on this too is actually the underside here. All these areas, gaps need filling and sanding. So once that's all done, get moving on this one at some point. No big rush. But this is a beast for sure. So this is 32nd. And you know what? We can put a fuselage on top, just to give you an idea. Again, this F-14 is big from Tamiya in 48 scale. And again, you can see the size difference from the 32nd beast. There we go. So yeah, that's it for this week. And hopefully you enjoyed it. It's kind of a bit of everything going on here to get this these wings done. But now they're done, they can go in the my box with my other parts complete. And we're done, let them dry. And they just slot right onto the aircraft once we're finished with the fuselage. So next week, we'll move on to paint. So we'll get the main fuselage painted, kind of replicate what we have here. And yeah, we'll go from there. So thank you for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If so, please hit the subscribe button. Really helps me out. You can also check out my Patreon. I have a Patreon channel with tons of videos on there. You can probably check out as well. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.